Welcome to Around the House, sponsored by Romac Building Supply. I'm your host, Don Magruder. For more great homeowner tips, go to aroundthehouse.tv, where you can sign up for our YouTube channel and our weekly newsletter. In this Around the House, we're talking about affordable housing. Families are trying to get in homes, and quite frankly, there's just none hardly available. It's going to be a great discussion, plus you'll find out how you can help. So with that, I'd like to introduce Kent Adcock. He's the CEO and president of Habitat for Humanity of Lake-Sumter. Good afternoon, Kent. How are you doing?
Good to see you today.
We're glad to have you, and you're one of the towering figures in this, or I guess you're on the front line of this affordable housing issue. Kent, before we get deep in this discussion, tell us about yourself and Habitat for Humanity of Lake-Sumter.
Yeah, Habitat started here in Lake-Sumter back in late 90s. Actually, the late 80s, but we did a merger after that with Sumter County. And my tenure has been about 15 or 20 years with Habitat, both starting as a volunteer and then working my way through Maryland and then Biloxi, Mississippi, and then Washington, D.C. before coming here 9 years ago. So this is a real challenging area with respect to affordable housing.
What is the mission of Habitat for Humanity?
You know, our mission, started out to make sure that everybody has a decent place to live. And there's 1.6 billion people on the face of the earth that don't have a decent place to live. Right. So that's a noble goal. But really, I think we've kind of formalized it to say it's to provide strength, stability, and self-reliance through shelter.
Big part of your organization is volunteers and people who donate and help. If there's a group, organization, or an individual that would like to volunteer or help, how do they contact someone in your group? How does that happen?
Well, typically what happens is we have groups that are involved in social responsibility endeavors, and they're usually attached to some type of support or sponsorship. Because we have such great volunteer support and response, it almost becomes a situation where it's, I don't want to say inappropriately, but it's kind of a pay-to-play kind of thing, where if you really want to volunteer as a group, then it's usually around a sponsorship opportunity. We do have days where just individual volunteers might be able to sign up and come onto our job site.
For more information, what's a good number they can call?
Yeah, it's 352-483-0434, and just tell them what you're interested in. They'll put you in touch with the right person.
Kent, how bad is the affordable housing situation here in Lake and Sumter County? And I hate to put it in negative terms, but it is negative.
Yeah, it really is. And we're going to be paying the price for some time to come if we don't find the silver bullet, so to speak, with respect to this. I was just talking with someone just yesterday who said that they were working on 3 different affordable housing developments in Lake County in the neighborhood of anywhere from 50 to 150 homes each. And they had capital, but they couldn't make the numbers work, and that they decided to shelve them because they couldn't make the numbers work.
In your opinion, why has housing become so unaffordable?
Well, I think our proximity to Orlando and the way in which Orlando's housing prices have dramatically increased. We're becoming increasingly a bedroom community to some extent, and that means people are moving out. And with the extension of the 429 Mount Dora area and with the growth of Claremont, I think just the natural progression of that is being felt real hard, and our wages are well below what that requires.
Well, I've been in this market for 22 years, and to me, the most significant parts of it, and I'm going to ask you if you disagree or not. First off, dirt prices, land prices have gone up. They've doubled or tripled. Used to be you could buy a lot for $2,000 or $3,000. Right. Cheap lot now is $10,000, $12,000, right, $15,000. But to buy a piece of raw land, develop it, do all the government requirements to put roads in and that type of stuff. Last number I saw, you're somewhere between $35,000 and $45,000 a small lot, and that doesn't include the price of the land hardly.
That's right.
Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, we're developing a 23-unit subdivision in Tavares right now, and not counting the cost of the land, not counting impact fees, all the like, just the pure development cost alone, and it's really driven a lot by the regulatory environment too, is in the neighborhood of $22,000 a lot.
Well, that's a rough number, especially when you put it on top of the land price.
True.
The other issue is impact fees, and a lot of people, they talk about impact fees. They need them for roads and schools. The first thing, most jurisdictions in America do not have impact fees.
Right.
But a lot of communities here in Lake and Sumter County, before the first shovelful of dirt is done, you're paying $15,000 to $20,000 in impact fees. That goes on top of that, right?
Right. Yeah, and just to give you a personal example, I live in Umatilla, and I'm building an accessory dwelling unit, which is something that affordable housing is naturally now beginning to look at on a property that I already had. And it's 1,189 square feet is my home, $22,000 impact fees.
Wow. And see, those numbers just don't work. Those numbers don't work. So you're looking before including the land price, development price, impact fees, you could be looking at $55,000, $60,000 a lot. And that's
right. Before any going vertical at all.
And then, of course, we've seen what's happened with wages and material prices and inflation. It all boils down to this. And you tell me if I'm wrong. How many people can afford how much? And the affordable house down in Lake or Sumter County is probably considered affordable, $200.
Yeah,
225.
Just 18 months, 2 years ago, it was 175, and now it's 200 or just above 200.
So, look in your group of people. How many can afford a 5, 10, 20% down payment? How many people can afford a note? And then add on top of that mortgage, you have insurance and taxes, which have been escalating. That makes a very difficult equation, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think Habitat has to in its advantage, the way in which we operate. The problem with Habitat is we don't have the capital to go to scale, because our families, basically, because they're below 80% of area median income, we have the access to be able to provide no closing cost and little to no down payment at all. And those are the two barriers for affordable housing for many people, because like you say, if you're figuring 5% for closing costs, on $200,000, that's $10,000 you got to come up with. Then you got down payment of 3%. If it's FHA, it's 3.5%. That's another $6,000. So you're looking at, what person making $30,000, $35,000 a year can afford $16,000 of capital just to get in the door?
Well, the other thing, and this happened 12 years ago or 10 or 12 years ago, when the new banking rules came into effect that virtually forced Habitat to force you guys to go to a mortgage companies because you couldn't hold mortgages because of restrictions.
Right.
That's been an impediment, hasn't it?
It has, and we actually are kind of bucking that trend a little bit. They're kind of stepping back from some of those regulatory requirements. Right now, we're anticipating that 2/3 of our mortgages are going to be third party, and then a third may end up being in-house mortgages. But even in-house mortgages, we may end up selling those at an interest rate.
All right, we've talked about the problem. There's a problem. There's a huge shortage. All right, if someone's watching this program today, how do they go about qualifying?
Sure.
And because I know you guys are building houses and you're putting folks in. How do people qualify?
Yeah, it's a real rigorous process. We select one person out of every 24 people that contact us.
Okay,
so it's real rigorous, but that's better than it was 5 years ago. We were close to 1 to 50 people, so we've been able to narrow down the screening process. So you call us and we put you in touch with our case manager who does a pre-screening, and when they pre-screen, they ask some of just the general questions to say, okay, are you maybe possibly a candidate? If you've pulled your own credit score, because you have to be able, it's not a freebie, it's not a giveaway, so you have to be able to afford an affordable mortgage. We can typically mitigate against the down payment and closing costs because of the way in which we operate. So if a person has a decent credit score and a stable income, then we have a pretty good chance of being able to cobble together the right mortgage package, the right down payment assistance package, and then Habitat provides closing costs as a part of our service.
And most important, this is not a handout. This is a hand up, as you always say.
That's correct. That's correct.
And since you use the word cobble together, it's a process.
It is.
And you're going to have to go through a process. They got to put sweat equity in.
They got to put 200 hours, 100 of which have to be their own hours into the process. And it's not for the faint of heart, but when you look at it on the final analysis, our goal and desire is, if the rent price today, which it is for a 2 to 3 bedroom home, is $1,200 a month, we can put a person into a new Habitat home for $600 a month,
and that's worth it. Once again, if someone we're interested, what's a good number they can call you?
It's 352-483-0434, and they can ask for Veronica, and she's at extension 124.
Real quick, we just have a few moments left, but you guys are building Habitat for Humanity homes at the Villages Charter High School and Leesburg
Right.
Construction Academies. It's a collaborative thing with the construction academies. Hasn't that been a wonderful event? Take a minute and talk about that.
Yeah, it's really, I think, cutting edge, and I believe that it's going to be a standard that people will use across the country. We started in the Villages High School. We moved now with Leesburg Construction Academy. Now it's opening up for South Lake, and the discussion is that next year it may actually end up with Eustis as well. But it provides so many different benefits. It benefits the family that needs an affordable home. It benefits the general population of those that are going through what we used to consider the old VOTEC kind of model, which they did away with. And it provides people who come out of high school with an ability to move right into the trades.
Last question, what's the plans for Habitat for Humanity to help solve this crisis?
Well, we're working collaboratively more because we realize we're not the hub of the wheel. The hub of the wheel is the affordable housing crisis. And as those spokes go out, that's a variety of spokes, and we're one of the spokes. And we're partnering with as many different groups and organizations as we can to try to find a solution. As you know, Lake 100 has got a workforce housing arm. We're seeing more attention from our county officials than we've ever seen before since I've been here.
And that's amazing.
And so I think that people are starting to realize this is crucial and we need to start addressing it.
Kent Adcock from Habitat for Humanity for Lake-Sumter, thank you for being our guest. You've given us a lot of great information. Thank you for watching Around the House today. And if you like today's program, go to aroundthehouse.tv where you can sign up for our YouTube channel and our weekly newsletter. Until next time, we will see you around the house.